Update. Am I the a-hole for denying my in-laws' only request at our wedding, therefore ruining our relationship? Original post. I need some advice on this situation from an unbiased source. I, 23 female, and my fiancé, 27 male, are getting married in December. We got engaged in April and I pretty much did all the planning myself with the help of my mom in the first few weeks. From the very beginning, my fiancé and I had a plan laid out for the bridal party. That was one of the first things decided, even before I had the ring on my finger. This included flower girls and ring bearers. We decided that the flower girl would be my sister's baby. Same sister is also my matron of honor, who would be pushed in a stroller down the aisle by my 10 female cousin, who would be considered a junior bridesmaid. For the ring bearers, my fiancé really wanted to include his best friend's son. For context, his friend has not had custody of his child for most of his life. Long story, and it could be a little difficult to arrange his attendance. He will be around a year and a half at the time of the wedding. As a result, we decided that we would also have my 2 cousins, 5 male and 7 male, the brothers of the junior bridesmaid, be ring bearers as well. This way, there's no pressure on the friend, and everything will go smoothly whether his child can come or not. The older boys will help the younger boy walk down the aisle, holding his hands. We decided on these specific children because they are closely related and close to us, and are the right age. Shortly after the engagement, I asked my sister and my cousin, the moms of the children, if their kids could be in the wedding, and gave details of what they should wear, etc. The kids and parents were both so excited. Everything was going according to plan until a few weeks ago when my mother-in-law asked us if we would consider adding another flower girl. For context, my fiancé's brother, 24 male, who is also his best man, lives across the country from us and recently told us, about 4 months ago, that he has a new girlfriend, 21 female. This girlfriend has a child from a previous relationship, a 10-month-old daughter. They have now known each other for about 7 or 8 months. He is very serious about her, and we are very happy for them. He has taken a sort of father role in her daughter's life, which is adorable. He is expressing interest in marrying her in the future, but they are taking it slow. My fiancé and I have never met this girlfriend or her child, but we are thrilled for his brother, so we of course invited them both to the wedding. Now this is where things get a little messy. I have always gotten along great with my fiancé's family. They have always been so sweet, kind, accepting, and well-meaning. They welcome newcomers with open arms, including me, and have really become my family. I especially had a great relationship with my mother-in-law. She is the sweetest lady and would do anything for me and any one of her children. She lives very close to us, and my family lives far away. She was always the first to say that it's our wedding, meaning mine and my fiancé's, to encourage me to make my own decisions in wedding planning and not let my mother sway them. She has become like a mother to me in so many ways. With that being said, they are also very loving and accepting of my fiancé's brother's girlfriend and her baby from afar, which is great. I'm so glad they are so supportive. They even started calling her baby their first grandchild and flew across the country to meet them. With this context in mind, a couple of weeks ago, when my mother-in-law and I were hanging out, just the 2 of us, she asked me if I would consider adding the girlfriend's baby as a flower girl. She said my fiancé's brother keeps bringing it up and that it would be really cute. I politely told her that we already had a flower girl, my niece, and a junior bridesmaid assigned to push her in a carriage. She responded by saying, essentially, "What's one more? She will probably be able to walk by herself down the aisle by then, 14 to 15 months. I kind of just said I would think about it with my fiancé and changed the subject. Later on, I told my fiancé about it, and we both agreed that it wasn't a good idea because 1. We already had the role filled and it would be awkward to have a baby randomly walking next to the stroller with the other baby. 2. If she needed help walking, it wouldn't be easy for the 10-year-old to juggle 2 kids down an aisle. 3. We have never met her, and she might not be comfortable walking down the aisle of a wedding where she knows nobody. And 4. They aren't married. And worst case scenario, if they break up, she's in all the pictures. I know that sounds harsh, but I come from a family where, traditionally, if you're not engaged, you don't get a +1 no matter who you are. I am not following this rule and everyone's significant other is invited, but that doesn't mean they get to be in the wedding. My fiancé and I were on the same page about this. We agreed to keep the bridal party the way it was. He talked to his brother and essentially told him it was a no, and everything was fine and everyone was on the same page until the other night. We were at my mother-in-law's house again, but this time my fiancé was there too. Once again, mother-in-law brings up the flower girl thing, and my fiancé tells her that we already have the position filled and that's that. But then my mother-in-law tells my fiancé how much it must mean to his brother since he keeps bringing it up. This brings out the empath in my fiancé, and he starts to have an open mind about it. Meanwhile, I'm still against it. I start to explain why, using the reasons I mentioned above. My mother-in-law points out that all of the children in the wedding are from my side except one, and that their side doesn't have any representation, even though that's because there are no children on his side. She also points out that there are 3 little boys in the wedding, so why can't there be 3 little girls? At this point, she has convinced my fiancé, and I'm an island defending my position alone. She wasn't being rude or anything, but every reason I had, she seemed to have a rebuttal. She was saying things like they will get married one day anyway, and she's already part of the family. Eventually, I start saying, we will think about it. And she responds, so that sounds like a no. To which I reply, we will consider it. It got awkward, and I was about to cry, so I changed the subject. The whole time, I felt like I looked like a major a-hole. It was really bad. Later that night, my fiancé apologized to me for being open to the idea in front of his mother when we had already decided against it. He had believed his mother would have an open conversation with us and not try to push her away. I, however, figured it would go exactly how it did. He called his brother that night and told him it was a definite no, and that we had already asked other people. His brother was sad but understood. I felt bad and guilty for making my fiancé feel bad. In hindsight, I really shouldn't have because of what followed. This is where my previous post left off. A lot has happened in the last few days. I was worried immediately after that conversation that his mother would tell his brother that my fiancé was for it and I was against it. My fiancé said he knew his mother well and that she wouldn't do that. The next morning, his brother called him wanting to talk. The first words out of his mouth were, after our conversation last night, I talked to Mom, and she said that you wanted her to be the flower girl and your fiancé, me, didn't. Just as I thought would happen. He went on to say, as your brother, I want to make sure that you get what you want since it's your wedding. I was pissed. My fiancé told him that we had already agreed not to have her as the flower girl, and that he shouldn't have seemed so open to it the night before. We spent the whole day discussing it. I felt like an a-hole and was tempted to cave to keep the peace, but the only reason my fiancé was reconsidering was because it meant a lot to his brother. The conclusion we came to was that it's not his brother's wedding. So we called him up a few hours later and told him no, for the 3rd time. He was upset, but at least it was over, or so we thought. He texted my fiancé again the next morning, expressing how hurt he was. At that point, we were like, the decision is made. It's our wedding. Please get over it. Then my fiancé's brother enlisted their mother. She called my fiancé and basically attacked him for almost an hour on the phone. My fiancé did a great job standing up for us and sticking to his guns. His mom went as far as to say that my relationship with his whole family will forever be affected by this decision. That one hurt. She also said that my fiancé's relationship with his brother will forever be altered. At this point, this was all going way too far. We ended up talking to my fiancé's sister and found out that his brother no longer wants to be best man anymore, and that neither of them wants to speak to us for a while. They said that this won't be resolved until we give in. I'm at a loss for words. This doesn't even feel like a real situation, to be honest. I feel like I'm in the twilight zone. We are definitely not going to give in. At this point, giving in would only show them that if they push hard enough, they can manipulate us. It just really hurts because we had such a great relationship before this. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Your mother-in-law and brother-in-law are being crazy, but your fiancé really messed this one up by waffling about it in front of his mother and making you look like a bridezilla. None of this would have been an issue if he hadn't done that. All of this for an 8-month relationship for a child that isn't even his brother's? I'm usually not a big Reddit conspiracy theorist, but your fiancé needs to talk to his family to find out what is actually going on, because this is insane levels of petty for literally nothing. You are correct in every way, and for the love of God, don't give in. But when people tell you who they are, listen to them. Because it seems like there is some aggressive golden child syndrome with your future brother-in-law. Yes, thank you. I see this too. His brother was definitely the golden child and very coddled as the youngest. Your fiancé needs to have a conversation with his mother. This is ridiculous. You've never even met these people. He plans to meet with her and set her straight in a few days. Now for the update. First off, thank you to those of you who gave great advice and were trying to help the situation. Your insight really opened our eyes, mine and my fiancé's. A lot of you hit the nail on the head. Brother-in-law is the golden child and has always been greatly favored over my fiancé by their mother. Brother-in-law is the youngest, and his mother has been coddling him his whole life. My fiancé is the oldest and tends to be the peacemaker and sacrificial one. A lot of you also called out the triangulation manipulation. I told my fiancé this, and he said that his younger brother often roped his mom into their arguments, got her to take his side, and got my fiancé in trouble no matter how ridiculous or wrong his brother was being. He mastered the art of triangulation manipulation from a young age. My fiancé would just take it and apologize to keep the peace. For those of you who said it's ridiculous to have a child we've never met, nor met her mother, as such an important part of our wedding party, thank you. I was feeling like the crazy one for thinking this. Also, info, I was being gracious when I said they have been together 8 months. They've known each other for 8 months and have only been officially dating for 4 months. The wedding is further away than the length of their entire relationship. It's bizarre that they are pushing so hard for this. For those who said we should have granted their request just to keep the peace, my fiancé has been doing this his entire life with his family. That is probably why they resorted to their usual manipulation tactics. He never actually wanted to have this baby in our wedding. He, in fact, thought it was pretty ridiculous of them to ask. He was just ready to cave because he always does to keep family peace, at the expense of himself and his needs or wants every time. The difference is, this time the wedding is about him. It's his day, not his brother's. Well, both of ours. And that's the other thing. He has me this time to stand up for him and what he actually wanted. I also wanted it too, which helps LOL. On to the update. A lot has happened. Today my fiancé went to see his dad and then his mom. They are separated. His dad is neutral, but has been sticking up for me in this whole thing. I have a great relationship with him. He filled us in on a lot. Here is essentially what has been happening. Turns out brother-in-law's girlfriend has more to do with this than we thought, as some of you suggested in the comments. She is the one who has been encouraging him to push for this because it means a lot to him and has been super offended, making a big deal about us saying no. Personally, if it were me, I would never ask someone if my kid could be in their wedding, even if it's family. But forcing it on strangers is wild. My fiancé found out from talking to his dad that my mother-in-law and brother-in-law are spreading a whole bunch of lies. Here is what has all unfolded. Mother-in-law is telling people I'm racist, and that's why I didn't want the baby in the wedding. Apparently, the baby and her mother are Filipino, which I honestly didn't even know because, once again, I've never met them. They live across the country. I don't even know their last name. But still, I don't care what race they are in the slightest. The girlfriend now believes this and doesn't even want to come to the wedding anymore. That's her choice. Also, the wedding party is of diverse ethnicities, so how is it that I'm racist? Brother-in-law is telling people that we are judging the girlfriend and don't want her child in the wedding because she was born out of wedlock, which is ridiculous. 2 of the children who are already in the wedding were born out of wedlock, 1 from each side. They have been talking behind our backs, gossiping, making up lies about me and assuming things about me that are not true. Brother-in-law is twisting and changing my fiancé's words into complete lies to make himself seem like the victim. He is feeding these lies, things my fiancé did not say, not only to his mother but to his sister and his dad. My sister-in-law and father-in-law are both neutral and won't take sides, but think that this whole thing is insane and want it to end. We do too. They both see that they are the ones creating this whole drama and hate me for no reason. So today my fiancé went to see his mother to essentially call her out for her behavior. She was absolutely hysterical and was not ready to listen to reason or logic. She deflected, denied, and lied about things we knew were true. She refused to take accountability or any sort of blame for the situation getting out of hand. She just deferred back to blaming me for everything, making me the villain, and herself and her precious baby son, brother-in-law, the victims. Meanwhile, the last time I spoke to either of them was when we had that conversation with my mother-in-law at her house, where my fiancé slipped and this whole thing started. My fiancé has been handling this whole situation and even trying to shield me from the blame, taking it all on himself. It's not working. My mother-in-law and brother-in-law have made up this entire scenario in their heads and driven themselves and everyone else crazy over it. Meanwhile, all I've done is express my concerns about having a child in the wedding that we don't know, in that initial conversation, when they aren't engaged or married, and the fact that we already filled the roles. She denies favoring my brother-in-law and claims that she is hurt by the accusation, and then, in the same breath, favors him and defends him. I feel the worst for my fiancé because he doesn't even want anything to do with them anymore, and does not feel the need to keep up these relationships. He said that his mother expected him to fall on his face today and apologize for everything because that's what he was forced to do growing up, and that's what they are used to. But now that I'm an extension of him, he is not letting me or us get treated this way. He is angry that they are selfishly trying to use our day to make some grand gesture to his brother's girlfriend, whom he's been dating for only 4 months, and that they refuse to respect our wishes. He is shocked and disappointed that they are lying about us and creating drama around our wedding. He is saying goodbye to this toxic cycle and going no contact until they come to their senses and fix this mess. For those of you who asked, we are in premarital counseling with our pastor, who is also our officiant. He was bewildered that they even requested this in the first place and was shocked and dismayed that they have turned it into such an ordeal. Anyway, this wasn't the update we hoped for, but it's the one we have. Hopefully, one day things will turn around. We are hoping my mother-in-law at least comes to her senses, considering we are the only family that lives near her. Maybe she will learn to support the son and daughter-in-law, who will one day give her grandkids she actually has a shot at seeing regularly, rather than blatantly favoring the son and girlfriend who live across the country. But for the time being, this is it. Security at your wedding is a must. On it. She's pushing brother-in-law to be part of the wedding because she's going to convince him to propose at your wedding. I'm hoping she just won't come to be honest. Tell father-in-law and sister-in-law that by not taking sides, they are in fact taking sides, just not yours. Actually, I would argue if anything they are taking our side, but just not rocking the boat with mother-in-law and brother-in-law. They both said their piece defending us, and when mother-in-law and brother-in-law rebutted with a ridiculous argument, they just changed the subject and avoid the wedding topic altogether. They are doing this to try to stop the family drama rather than fan the flames. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my no-contact sister that part of growing and being a better person is accepting that people don't have to forgive and reconcile with you? Growing up, my sister, now 22 female, was the spoiled golden child of our parents. She got everything she ever wanted in life and became the brat nobody wanted their kids to be friends with. I, now 24 female, even had friends who weren't allowed to come to my house because my sister was there. She would steal, try to make you do what she wanted, and would tell our parents if you didn't. She would break stuff if she wasn't included and wasn't allowed to take over decision-making. It was a whole thing. We fought a lot as kids, and we both said awful things to each other. But I grew to resent her more and more because of the monster our parents created. The final straw for me was my savings. My parents wouldn't let me open a bank account because they didn't want me hiding money. They forced my first job to fire me because they were not okay with me keeping money to myself. I knew they wouldn't help me with college or let me stay rent-free once I turned 18. So I started being sneaky about saving. I babysat for friends' parents under the guise of visiting friends. I did errands for family friends or other people. It didn't allow me much in the way of savings, but it allowed me some. But then, like 2 days before my 18th birthday, my sister found and stole the money. Yes, I had it at home, but there was nowhere else to take it. None of my friends' parents were okay with me storing it at their house in case any went missing and I accused them. They were fine helping me earn money, but they didn't want the responsibility of storing it, which I understand. My sister even told our parents I had the money, and they got so mad at me. In return, I told my sister to F off and never speak to me again, and that from that day onward, she wasn't my sister and I didn't love or give a damn about what would happen to her. I left on my birthday and never went back. I was no contact from then until now. My sister reached out to me a few weeks ago because a relative gave her my number. She apologized, told me she was sorry, said she had grown up and realized how crappy she was, and she knew stealing, breaking stuff, getting me into trouble intentionally, and trying to control everything was wrong. She said she loved and missed me and was hoping we could repair our relationship. I didn't reply. I read the text and I kept it on my phone but didn't reply. 2 weeks later, she texted the exact same thing with an apology in case I hadn't gotten the first, but she wanted to be sure. Then a few days ago, she texted again and said she knew it was my number and wanted to know why I ignored her when she had apologized and was hoping I'd forgive her so we could have a relationship. I replied one time, and I considered not doing this, and I told her that part of growing is accepting people don't have to forgive you or reconcile with you just because you apologized, and that sometimes the harm done can't be undone, and doors are closed forever. I didn't reply after that. Then the relative who gave her my number and I exchanged some words because of this, and she told me it was the most arrogant way to tell someone you don't accept their apology. She said I should have been more accepting, and I told her that I didn't need to listen to this. Am I the a-hole for it, though? I'm not doubting myself, but I wonder if there are others who feel the same way as the relative. Honestly, maybe I should have kept ignoring my sister and blocked her number. Not the a-hole. It's great when someone can grow and better themselves, but sometimes apologies just aren't enough. Getting better doesn't erase the past, and sometimes too much damage is done for one party to want to revisit the relationship. An apology is not a magic key that entitles someone to your forgiveness, let alone a spot in your life. Reconciliation is a privilege, not a right. Not the a-hole. If your sister cannot understand your reply, then she still needs more growth. Makes me wonder exactly what she told the relative, because it sounds like another example of her not getting her way and then tattling to force you to give her what she wants. Same controlling behavior from childhood. If you don't want to hear from your sister again, I'd suggest blocking her and pre-blocking her on socials to shut down all access options. As for that relative who gave out your number without asking you first, they definitely deserve the blocking treatment too.